What's your favorite donut?
Oh my gosh! So it's funny. It's a child's donut basically. It's chocolate long john or chocolate bar, whatever you call it, wherever you're from. That's what it's from. So it's the the long bar, and it's got the ice chocolate on it. I've been eating that since I was a little kid, and I still eat that.
You knew that right off
I was
the
gonna
top of his
say,
head.
obviously, donuts are a thing.
The Mesa Chamber of Commerce Inside Business Podcast brings you a unique view of Mesa through its vibrant business community and the subjects that are important. The podcast is produced in the Mesa Chamber of Commerce Media Studio, sponsored by the University of Phoenix. Our podcast is hosted by Mesa Chamber of Commerce CEO Sally Harrison. Please enjoy this episode of the Mesa Chamber Inside Business Podcast.
So talk about your own social media.
Yeah.
What do you guys focus on?
We focus a lot on really differentiating. So being a digital marketing company, it's not the word I would say is it's not sexy to do social media for a digital marketing company because it just doesn't come across the same way. We don't have like a product that we're really pushing, and we're not gonna have models or anything like that, or have people doing cool stuff and some guy's on a mountaintop and he's having a drink of water and that's for a Nature Valley commercial or something like that. We don't have that. So we really focus on just being different. We do a lot of really fun stuff. It's always super cheeky.
I
saw you guys are starting a mountain biking.
So we are looking into kind of expanding a bit into doing, because so the three of us are pretty avid mountain bikers, although it's too blistering hot right now to mountain bike. So I haven't been, so we haven't been, but we love to mountain bike. So we stupidly made the choice to do that right in the middle of summer, obviously, and we were gonna do kind of a get together of other people who might be like-minded, who might be business owners, who might just be in a space, or just want to come out and mountain bike, and then talk about what you do or things like that. And that's kind of what we've been talking a lot about. And that's I think going to be June 25th, so a really good day, probably pretty early in the morning. So.
Okay, I thought he was like a normal person until now. Now I think he's crazy.
Well, yeah.
June 25th.
That's Josh all the way.
He
He's a
hangs out
crazy
with
person.
us.
Yeah.
Good point. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. That's
So sorry, I didn't mean to derail you from
Yeah.
answering
Good
the
luck
question
right now.
about social media for an agency.
No, and I think that's what is the difference factor in what we do is that we're out trying to just like make people laugh and enjoy the content, but then also know that in the back of their minds, we're there to help them whenever they have a need, because that's the best way is kind of staying in front of them and letting them know. And we do all kinds of quirky stuff and all kinds of ridiculous, images and stuff. And yeah, we should be better. We've been really bad about not including ourselves and having pictures of us out or doing stuff like that. Or when we do our I call it the semi-quarterly Dan complains about a mountain bike ride company outing. So we did one of those I think last year sometime, and the three of us, and we went out to Sedona, and I complained the whole time, and it was just miserable. It was the most miserable 15-mile ride of anybody's life, because I hated it. And so that's now it, and so anytime I'll bring it up, it's like because that last one was so much fun. So yeah. But we should have taken pictures of that. It could have been like how it started, how it's going, how it ended, because then we were all dead. And then it ended with like, I remember, well, and we didn't have any good way to like drive three bikes. So this is like, it's still pretty cold out, and Josh blows the top off of his Jeep, and he straps the bikes to the top of the Jeep, and so then it's just airflow, and it's like 30 degrees outside, and we're driving, and we're all bundled up, like just gonna, I can't believe how cold it was. And then we're driving back, and everybody's tired and annoyed, and Josh just looks at us, he's like, so you guys just slept? And he's got this picture of me, and I like put my hood over my face because I couldn't see, and I was just trying to do a little bit of work, and I put my sunglasses like in front of the thing so it looked like I was a person, and he got a picture of that, and it just looks ridiculous from I don't know, it was a fun trip to look back on, but it was miserable to do just because it was cold and it was long, and Josh is this like stamina freak, and I'm kind of not.
Still
So
friends.
yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah, still friends, still business partners, can't believe it. So
So talk about Google Ads, because I don't think enough people understand
yeah.
any of that side of things.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's kind of a lot of whenever I was talking about like, annoying the right people and, targeting and cookies and stuff like that. So that's exactly what that is. Google Ads is the system and tool that people use to advertise online. So maybe you go to Google and you perform a search and then you see ads at the top, or then you're on a website and you see ads to the top or side or bottom, and those are ads. Or maybe you're on YouTube and you see a video play, an ad play before that, and that's, all of those pieces are Google Ads. I mean, maybe you're shopping and you're seeing ads when you're doing your on the Google Ads, shopping feed and things like that. And there's a few, maybe you're on an app and you're seeing an ad, and all of that stuff plays into. And so Google Ads is the world's largest online advertising tool, and it's also one of the best tools to use if you want to do it yourself. They make it really easy to utilize. They make it really easy to run and get stuff going. And because the best way to have somebody give you their money is to make it easy for them to give you their money. So that's what Google has done, and it's great. The difference being what we do as an agency when we work with a product like that, we're accessing some tools that are beyond the capabilities of the standard end user, the guy who owns a moving company who just wants to get some ads out that he runs moving and he wants to get a local presence. So we can help him at that point develop a strategy and an audience that is going to match that, because he might run an ad and he goes, well, it's weird because I don't feel like everybody's seeing these ads. I'm getting clicks, but no one's reaching out. And it's like, well, who are you targeting? And then that's where we can come in and help them build that audience out. And so maybe you need to go after people that are recently, looking into moving, or people who are planning or moving the next 6 months or a year, and all the, get out that kind of stuff, or relocation, or people who are changing jobs or getting married. And maybe they're not thinking about that kind of stuff when they're thinking, well, I'm just thinking about people that need to move. Well, what are the things that are happening in their life that are causing them to need to move? So from there there we go. So continue to break things in the studio. And that's what we help them do. But Google Ads has that ability. And if you do it, if you take the classes and you take the tests and, learn all about it, you could do it yourself. But that's where, having an expert like us comes in to help alleviate that problem. But it really is a great tool, and that's what it is. It's the platform in which you would run an ad online.
Is it real costly?
It is. It depends on what you want to do, and it depends on your industry. So there's obviously if you were to do it yourself, there's no upfront cost. It's not like it costs anything to get on the platform or anything like that, but there is cost in order to run the ad. So and you can set your own budget. I think that's one of the great things is you can go after it, but if you're a lawyer and you only have $100 to spend, Google Ads is not going to be your platform. But if you are, a very small business and you're in kind of a niche market that doesn't have a lot of competition, maybe $100 goes a lot further, and that's kind of the difference maker there, is kind of understanding that. So, I think it's a great tool, especially if somebody is just trying to maybe get their name out there, just trying to still build up a little bit of profile. And I think it's a great starting point for anybody to be looking at. If you're running anything, if you have any kind of web presence at all and you want people to find you online, you should be looking at running some kind of ad online.
Perfect. Thank you for that.
Is there a lot of competition in the ad space now?
There is.
People talk about Amazon. People talk
Yeah.
about. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Are there more options for people now?
There are, but surprisingly, it's been a little bit of a slow. I guess it'd be like a slow transition, or maybe just a slow uptick or uptake on it, or whatever they call that, when somebody does, kind of takes that up and decides, I'm going to use this Amazon product. Because that was the thing, is when Amazon came out, we thought, oh, that's great and it's awesome. And then for what we were doing, it really didn't make a lot of sense because we were doing a ton of e-commerce, and it's like, but Amazon's a great tool if you want to run ads online and you sell something. Because the customer profile data that you can obtain. I would say one of the big differences, and this seems to be coming across the board, across everybody, Google Ads, Facebook, you can run, social ads, you can run Amazon ads, you could go off and get with Verizon and get on Yahoo and run native ads through them, or you could run through their different types of, programmatic tools that they have and exist. But there's been this weird thing where it feels like people have kind of been almost hiding their data more and more, and that has always been one of the big fears with Amazon was, well, they don't really give us access to the data, though. They keep it to themselves, and they say, don't worry, the ad's going to run, and it's going to perform, and we're going to get it in front of the right people, but we're not going to tell you who it is. And that's, as an advertiser, it's always kind of scary for us, but for somebody who, might be doing it themselves, and especially if they're selling something, it is a really cool tool, and it's worth looking into. And the same thing goes with the social side of things. If your industry plays really well in the social space, it's a really good idea to be looking at those platforms, because those are even less costly to get involved in. They have lower costs of entry usually, and they usually cost a lot less money to run an ad or whatever it might be, and they can be really beneficial. And that's where we come in and kind of help with that too, is helping people understand where should your money go,
So that's it's kind of curious because you touch on this a little bit.
Yeah.
Does what you want to advertise influence the network that you should advertise on?
100%. Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. You should not. It's like I was talking how great Google Ads is, and I do. I really do feel that way. I've been a Google Ads guy for over a decade now, and I've always been on that. It's kind of been my main claim to fame. But I recognize that there are times Maybe you're in a clothing industry, right? Well, where are ads going to play really well there? Social, like that's going to be a great place for people. Maybe you are in an e-commerce space and you're really putting yourself out there, and you don't want the rigmarole of running an online store and things like that. Well, Amazon comes into play and they make a lot of sense for you, right? And you're willing to kind of outsource that, and and then their advertising implementation can come in, which is incredible. I mean, as much as we hate to admit it, we all use Amazon, or if you don't, good for you. I'm proud of you. So. I don't know many people who don't. Yeah, I'm thinking about stuff. I got something. Yeah, like they've got you good there. It's definitely Skynet nowadays. But that's the thing, and they would make a lot of sense because they have unbelievable data that they have mined, and that's the difference, right? We were talking about that, like the Oculus, right? So that Facebook came with the Oculus, and it's $299 as long as you hook up your Facebook account to it, right? But it's $899 if you don't, and because that's how much your data is worth to Facebook. And that can sound scary, but I always look at it from the perspective of they're going to get it some way, somehow. You'd be better off to, kind of play ball with them and let them do what they do, which is they do want to help at the end of the day. They want to make money, and they know making money is through advertising. But they want to make sure that they're not spamming people with ads. And so that's kind of the difference. And I think kind of changing your mindset to that. But it does make a 100% difference where you should advertise depending on the industry you're in. So.
Cool. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So you gave us the website.
Yep.
Do you have a phone number?
Yeah, it's 480-877-9805. I really hope that's it.
What's your preferred profile? Do you like long walks on the beach?
Our preferred profile. I don't know. I think it would depend on who you talk to. Yeah, long bike rides in the heat. How about that? There you go.
Oh, man. Okay. Well, this was a different podcast. Josh, thanks for being here. It's good
Who's
to
Josh?
see you. Josh, God. We were just talking about Josh and you walking.
Boy,
Dan.
this podcast did go in a
It
weird
did
way.
go south really quick. Dan, thank you.
Thank you.
It's good to see you in person again.
Yes.
It's been a while. It seems like during Mesa Cares program, we talk to you every day.
Yeah.
Sometimes multiple times in a day.
Yes.
Definitely multiple emails every day for weeks.
Months.
What, 5 months?
Yeah, it was quite a while. I know. It was weird when that all ended, and then I don't really hear
You're
from you
like, I'm
guys,
so
and I'm
bored.
just like, did I do something? Are you guys okay?
Right. Man, I gotta call Dan. I haven't talked to Dan in like a week. He's probably thinking I'm mad at him.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just like, what's going on? So.
Oh, did you guys break up?
No, we're still together.
All right, so you'll come back and give us updates later?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it'd
Oh,
be
it's
great.
going to be something new, right?
I was gonna
Yeah.
say it'd be great if you were willing, and I'm going to do this right on the podcast, so there's no pressure. But,
Absolutely.
It'd be great if you did kind of like a, hey, here's some best practices, or
Yeah.
here's some things to think about.
Yeah.
Because so many small business owners are
Yeah.
like, everybody says spend money on Google Ads, or everybody says spend money on Facebook, but like, what does that mean? Like, what
Yeah.
does that do?
Yeah, and that might be different for each person, though, right? Like maybe they need to be focusing, because for some people, like we just met with a client recently, and the biggest thing for him is it's like the service that I offer, nobody knows what to search for. So I'm like, then why would you run a search ad? He had another company say you should run search ads, and I was just like, okay, well, let me do a little research, and then I'm like, yeah, that gets 3 searches a month. That's going to be really beneficial. Yeah, it's going to work out. And so we have a different conversation with them about that, or maybe that's that piece. And so each person, each industry, each business is going to be unique. So you shouldn't just take it as like, everyone says I need to be on Facebook. Do you though? Where's your clientele at? Yeah. I got to have a Twitter. What do you have to say? And so yeah, that's that's kind of the conversation that we usually have. And we call it brutally honest digital marketing or whatever it might be, but it just ends up being, we look at it as like, if this was my friend or this was my family or this was me, wouldn't I want to give that person that same advice? So I treat that client or that potential person that we're going to work with the same way as if it were me. I would tell my family that, like, that's a stupid thing to do. Don't do that, and maybe we'll sugarcoat it a little better.
Honesty. Call Dan Baker.
Yeah. We'll tell you stuff you don't want to know. So
If you want super brutal honesty, call Josh.
absolutely, yeah. And you just get the blunt, honest. There'll be me doing like a lot of hemming and hawing about like to finally get it out, and then Josh will just be like, "That's a bad idea. Don't do that." Yeah.
All right, so you're coming back.
Yes.
Thanks for being here. Have a great weekend.
Awesome. You guys too.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Enjoy.
This has been a Mesa Chamber of Commerce Inside Business podcast. You can find all podcast episodes at iTunes, Spotify, or your own favorite podcast website. You can also find them online at mesachamber.org. Content of this podcast is copyright the Mesa Chamber of Commerce, unless otherwise noted.